all, thank you for clicking this video. I'm Bintang, welcome. So here I would like to tell you a tip or a strategy that can be used to teach reading and vocabulary to young learners or to beginner level of students. So reading itself is one of the parts of literacy skills in which needs to be sharpened from the early ages. Why? It's because in this stage, the students or the children are still developing their language ability, such as acquiring new knowledge, such as vocabulary, in which later it can be used to communicate both in written and also spoken form. One of the strategies that can be used to teach reading and vocabulary to young learners is by implementing choral reading strategy. So choral strategy itself is the activity where the students and the teacher read together a text. It can be a story or any kind of form of text, in which later even the lower level students can still follow the reading activity because they can learn from their friends and their teacher on how to read a text and how to pronounce certain words in the text itself. Since not all of my students come from Indonesia, some of them are foreigners or expatriates, so I'd like to introduce certain story from Indonesia because I want them to learn the story from Indonesia and the story that are read by children in Indonesia. So the story itself is entitled The Mouse, Deer and the Crocodile, or we know that as Kancil dan Buaya, because most of my students like to read a story that the characters are animals, or we know that as fable. So I want them to have a better understanding because they like the story itself, so they will have a better understanding about the story. And later they can grasp the main idea, such as the moral value stated in the story. Inferred in the story. And if you are curious on how to implement this strategy in your class, I will show the steps.
The first step, you need to look for digital book. You can use the website namely anyflip.com. In this website, you can access various digital books, magazines, or documents that when you change the pages, it can be flipped. So it will be more interesting when you present it in the class to your students. The second step is do the choral reading and read the story together with the students. Make sure that they go together during the reading and not being too fast so that everyone can still follow. After that, ask the students to retell the story or raise several questions related to the story to check their understanding. You can also ask them to tell what thing they have learned from the story or the moral value inferred in the story. This can be beneficial also in building the student's character. The third step, integrate the topic of your material. So for example, as I wanted to review the topic of adjectives that have learned with my students, after reading the story, we describe the characters, including their appearance and personality, by mentioning the keywords of adjectives that they have learned. For instance, the mouse deer has long legs and the crocodile has short legs. And then the fourth one, to make the learning more fun, you can provide little games such as using spin wheel or flippity websites. Thing that you can do is first you need to list several adjectives about the characters in the story and spin it. Every time a word coming out, the students need to read the word and mention the name of which characters own the characteristics. With this activity, it is hoped that the students will have a better understanding about the adjectives and also to improve their reading skills as well.
So those are all the steps that you can implement in your classroom in implementing choral strategy integrated with digital tools and also incorporated with local wisdom. Please be noted that when you implement this, you can still adjust or you can also modify based on your lesson plans. So I hope that this video will be useful for you and I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.